here, and my friends Thippi and Thadi will be presenting it later. So the topic that we got today was about a speech given by Obama in the Indian Parliament. And the context that we are deriving is many century before, an Indian went to Chicago, addressed the Parliament there, and impressed the people in what India actually is and why it is. After a century, an American came to India, the Indian Parliament, and told to us Indians what India is. Do we need to know from an American what India actually is? That is our question. And our hypothesis is that we derive like what we preach, we need to practice. So practice what we preach and preach what we practice. This is something that we have learned from our KG, but from us to Obama, all have to follow this also. The speech that Obama gave at the Indian Parliament, he praised India a lot. Our peace, how we got our independence, our democracy, how we treat people, everything he praised. He told that India and US can go shoulder to shoulder. But between all the lines, there's something called reading between the lines, and if you do that, you feel that there was hidden agenda in every word Obama muttered in our parliament. He had some other goal rather than praising India or getting something from the Indian people. As my friend had mentioned before of US intentions, and these intentions were clear in that speech also. We saw that when it was encouraging us to follow the peace principle, he himself was attacking Afghanistan. Yes, there was some trouble there, but there were many innocent lives that were gone and many were killed in that process. And that is something that he didn't agree with. And he asked us not to support Iran. It was his country's motive that he doesn't want to support it. But doesn't mean that we change our diplomatic rules for that. He also wants that he has, the country as US has an apprehension at the present. What if China comes to the topmost position? Will it control the world? And will it lose the so-called power status that US has enjoyed for a few years now? And that fear has made it come to the democratic country and make them against the so-called communalism and make a cartelization kind of thing and make a group to hold on its power. So more than what we say, India needs US, it has been US needs India. And how we portray it is India can develop only if it has the help of United States. And this is something that context that we have taken, and we have derived some scenarios in today's world where these things are impractical. We can't just say that Obama is doing that. We ourselves are doing that. When we get into a corporate world, we are seeing something called corporate social responsibility. Yes, one of my friends had mentioned. We are learning this here. We are going into an organization, we may practice that. But have you ever thought why CSR emerged and why that exists today? It emerged because there were many issues in the society that the corporate was just taking, but nothing towards giving back to the society. And that had brought about this concept. But when actually it happened, it was that we were using this term for marketing rather than really helping the society. We all have been to McDonald's. We have had the burgers, Happy Meals. We have seen their Happy Meals and the toys of advertisements and everything. But have you ever thought what goes behind that burger that comes to our table? There are many people who are working in inhuman conditions. They are paid less. They are overworking and there is no overtime or any overtime pay that is given to them. The way they are producing their goods, they are destroying the environment. And the main thing, they are saying that they follow CSR, they help the poor kids, they educate them, they give them nutritious food. But what are they actually selling? They are selling junk food. That is making our younger generation obese, diabetic and many things that yesterday it was when you get diabetic at the age of 40 and today you are getting at the age of 20 or 12. And so you are using your CSR just to cover up what you are actually doing. You are just still following the business that has given you profit without actually thinking about the society. There are numerous examples for this. We have something like Shell had, you know about Shell. Shell is not some company which is devoid of some money. Still it is using the old and rusted pipelines, which is causing oil spillage in many of the water resources in poor and developing countries. The people who are working for Shell have the trouble of living in the inhuman conditions, but they are least bothered when they say that they are providing sustainable growth and development in the source of energy. They are also affecting a large population. So that is how it has been. What is on the paper and what is in the action is totally different in many scenarios of our world today. And my friends will give you more examples of how this diverse differences are occurring today.
So the hypothesis is what one preaches, one doesn't follow it. So as an extension of this hypothesis, we would also know that there is some greed behind whatever actions you do, whatever ideologies you preach, there is always some greed behind that. So to draw parallel with this, we would like to bring some social aspect. One thing is, we'll try to understand the ideology of Hinduism, which is prevalent in society, something that is there in ourselves and in entire India. So more precisely, we'll try to understand the caste system, ideology of caste system. Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna has created 4 varnas, Brahmin, Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. These varnas were created only on the basis of quality and birth and never on the basis of birth. It was clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. So each varnas, each person has his own individual responsibility or a group responsibility. Like the Brahmin had the responsibility of spreading the knowledge, developing strategies when in terms of war, in the time of war, and Kshatriyas are the saviors or the fighters, Vaishyas are the traders and the businessmen, and Shudras are all the less skilled people are considered as Shudras, the working laborers and so. But and in Bhagavad Gita it says that no person is of a single caste. He is a person attains a caste. Suppose if you are born in Shudra and you have the skills of a warrior, then you are called as a Kshatriya but not as a Shudra. But what's happening now is something different. Over the years have passed by, and what people did want to share their knowledge, their skills, their wealth and everything. So they wanted those things to get inherited to their children, to their future generations. So what they started was a hatred movement by some people, saying that these guys were less skillful and the knowledge, the skills that these guys have, that it was their own birthright. So their immediate descendants were of the same caste and they can't move to the other varnas. So this is what it's been happening, and right now we are living in that society. And the division has happened, and you see how many systems we have, caste systems, and that is what is dividing our country right now. So what the ideology says that equality, the Varna system has been created just to give some responsibility, and in terms of equality, everyone is equal. When it comes to any resources or any power, everyone is equal. Only responsibilities aspect, it is different. So, but what right now it's happening something different. So, it is contradictory when everyone comes to a common dais, like the political people. When they talk about caste system and or some so-called Swamijis or the Hindu priests, when they come to the common system, they say everyone is equal, but do they follow it? That is something different. Just, do you think that a word called honor killing would be there if there is no division? Yesterday or day before yesterday, we were seeing something happening in Tamil Nadu, suspected honor killing. So there is a contradiction in what they preach when they come to common dais and what they actually do. There is a greed for money, the greed for power that has led to this. And also some other example is whenever Swamijis come to a media or they come to a common platform, they say equality is something that we preach. But there was one scene in 2010 where a low caste priest, when he was called on the dais, other priests from the upper caste, they didn't like to share the dais with him. So what is the greed when the Swamijis come in front of media and say equality, everybody should be equal. The greed is to get that market share, and this has been a business for them actually, to get that pie. So what they preach, the ideology is different, and they act in a contradictory way. So Thippi will take the next example.
My two friends explained about the two different concepts, and this is the third context which is most popular in India. We talk about democracy, not only about the balance. So that is our main ideology in Geopolitics. The first thing, what is democracy? Whenever any chief minister in India, whenever he sworn into the assembly, he takes a oath which includes, I bear the faith in Constitution of India. And what this Constitution of India actually tells you? There is a right to speech and expression, and there, he or she takes the responsibility of the citizens and the law and order. And so this is the whole ideology of the democracy. But what exactly situation today's political thing is happening is, whenever, suppose if you take example of Mamata Banerjee, there was some rape happened in Bursa. So for that, while she responded like very irresponsible, where she has to actually act as a very responsible, where she ended up giving very irresponsible statements like, did I go and actually do it? No. So similarly, she is given very, she is also not taking the responsibility or the blame on our government. When she was protested in the same village, she actually told that this is actually opposition parties. This is not of our government responsibility. This is actually happening because of that. And she also blamed the population is rising, so are the rates. So it's not similarly, when she actually, when some professor actually cartooned her, where it is actually a professor's right to speech and expression. He can, according to Article 19 of our Constitution, he can portray anything, anyone, in any manner, as long as it comes under law. So he portrayed Mamata as a cartoon, but what she actually did is she got arrested. So, and similarly, not only Mamata Banerjee, when you actually take the example of Thapre, where one girl posted like, people like Thapre will born and they die, so we should be bothered about it. But actually what happened is Maharashtra police actually took that girl and the girl who liked it. For just liking the comment and some posting against Thapre, they arrested her. So this is where the basic freedom of speech and expressions are getting violated. So when it comes to democracy, there is a whole ideology of the democracy where they have to take the responsibility and they have to take save the fundamental rights for the citizens. But in actual what they are doing is they are actually violating them. So why what is the underlying benefit? Like why actually they are getting them violated? So when she actually opposed the other party, and when she actually told that okay, this is common because the population is rising, so the rapes. So she tries to get the image, the citizens that this is common. Okay, this is happening everywhere. This is not only of my government. So I'm doing good. So just I'm not doing bad. This is common. So you just vote me in the next elections whenever I stand. So I'm a good leader. So that is what she's actually her underlying intention. That is what she's trying to portray. So not only when it comes to other states in India, suppose Yediyurappa from Karnataka. So he has done all the scams, all the he supported them. And one more thing is he took a very good advantage of the coalition government. So where actually the coalition government actually comes to get the majority and consensus among the politicians and actually rule the state. But actually he took a very political advantage of it, and he actually initially they took with some other government, Congress, and then actually they took with JDS just to get that power. So he wants to rule the state. So he took that power and advantage and he used it. So similarly, all these things and what is happening is the freedom of speech is getting violated. So the vote they are taking, that they are breaking. So the whole ideology of this democracy is getting violated, where all leaders are acting like a dictators. So that's all. Thank you.
Right.
We have to